The final weeks of 2025 have thrust President Trump and his administration into a defining legal battle at the Supreme Court. At stake is the very scope of presidential power, specifically Trump's aggressive use of tariffs as a tool of foreign policy. The court's decision could either expand executive authority or deliver a major setback, with consequences for the presidency and the nation's balance of power. Meanwhile, a related legal drama is unfolding. A federal appeals court has blocked Trump's attempt to install loyalist Alina Habba as a top federal prosecutor. These cases together highlight a presidency pushing the boundaries of authority and a judiciary forced to respond. The outcomes will directly impact the economy, U.S. alliances, and the structure of government. As the nation waits, the stakes for Trump, and for American democracy, could not be higher. President Trump's trade policy has been both bold and deeply controversial, shaking up decades of established norms. His administration imposed sweeping tariffs on imports from China, Canada, and Mexico, aiming to protect American industries and pressure foreign governments to negotiate new trade deals. These moves marked a dramatic shift from previous administrations, which generally favored free trade and multilateral agreements. To justify these tariffs, President Trump declared a national emergency, invoking the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, commonly known as IEPA. This law, originally designed to address extraordinary threats to national security, gave the president a powerful legal tool. By framing trade imbalances and foreign economic practices as threats, Trump's administration argued that IEPA could be used to impose tariffs outside the usual legislative process. IEPA grants the president broad authority during emergencies, allowing actions that would otherwise require congressional approval. Trump's legal team contended that this authority extended to setting and collecting tariffs, even though the law had never been used this way before. This interpretation pushed the boundaries of executive power, raising questions about the limits of presidential authority in economic matters. Traditionally, the power to set tariffs rests with Congress. The Constitution explicitly grants lawmakers the authority to regulate commerce and impose taxes and duties. For over 2 centuries, this system ensured that major changes to trade policy required debate and approval by elected representatives, reflecting the will of the people. By using IEPA to impose tariffs, President Trump bypassed Congress entirely, asserting an unprecedented expansion of executive power. Critics argue this move undermines the constitutional balance, allowing the president to reshape trade policy single-handedly and without meaningful oversight. The impact has been felt across the country. American businesses have faced higher costs for imported materials, while consumers have seen prices rise on everyday goods. Farmers, manufacturers, and retailers have all voiced concerns about the long-term effects of these tariffs. Meanwhile, global trade tensions have escalated, with other countries retaliating against U.S. exports. Now the Supreme Court is being asked to weigh in. The central question: can a law intended for true national emergencies be used to overhaul trade policy, sidestepping Congress and decades of precedent? The court's decision could have far-reaching consequences, potentially redefining the limits of presidential power and the future of American trade policy. The Supreme Court faces a pivotal question: can the president use IEPA to unilaterally impose tariffs? Trump's lawyers argue the law's broad language covers tariffs as a regulatory tool in emergencies. Opponents counter that tariffs are taxes, and only Congress can impose taxes, a principle rooted in the Constitution. Lower courts have sided with challengers, warning against a massive transfer of power to the executive. The Supreme Court must now draw the line between presidential foreign policy powers and Congress's authority over the national purse. Their ruling will set a precedent for the presidency's reach for years to come. During oral arguments, Supreme Court justices from both sides of the ideological spectrum expressed deep skepticism about Trump's legal position. Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Gorsuch questioned whether IEPA's vague language could really grant the president the power to tax. Justice Jackson reminded the court that IEPA was designed to limit, not expand, emergency powers. Justice Kagan pressed for historical precedent, while Justice Barrett challenged the administration's interpretation. The justices' concerns focused on the constitutional principle that only Congress can tax. Their pointed questions signaled a tough road ahead for the administration. The court's skepticism suggests a reluctance to let the president bypass Congress on such a major economic issue. This case is the latest and perhaps most significant chapter in the ongoing struggle between presidential and congressional power. The Constitution gives Congress authority over taxes and trade, a safeguard against executive overreach. Over time, Congress has delegated some powers to the president, but always with clear limits. Trump's use of IEEPA challenges this balance, arguing for sweeping authority based on a general emergency declaration. If the court sides with Trump, it could allow future presidents to bypass Congress on major policies by declaring emergencies. A ruling against him would reinforce Congress's role and limit executive action. The outcome will set new ground rules for the separation of powers. The stakes go far beyond tariffs. They touch the very structure of American government. Trump's legal team is feeling the pressure as Supreme Court skepticism grows. Their strategy relies on a broad reading of IEEPA, but even conservative justices seem unconvinced. A loss could not only end the tariffs but also force the administration to seek explicit congressional approval for future actions. There's also the risk of financial chaos. If the tariffs are struck down, the government could face lawsuits demanding refunds of nearly $90 billion. Politically, a defeat would be a major blow to Trump's image and embolden his opponents. The team is scrambling for backup plans, but their strongest argument may already be on shaky ground. While the high-profile tariff case continues to dominate national headlines, another legal battle has quietly unfolded behind the scenes. Former President Trump's controversial attempt to install Alina Habba as interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey has been decisively blocked by a federal appeals court, sending shockwaves through legal and political circles alike. The court's ruling was clear. The administration's maneuver to bypass the Senate confirmation process not only violated established protocols, but also threatened to undermine the independence and integrity of federal law enforcement. The judges emphasized that the Senate's role in confirming top prosecutors is a crucial safeguard against political interference. Alina Habba, known for her unwavering loyalty to Trump and a legal record marked by controversy, was widely viewed as a political appointee rather than an impartial prosecutor. Critics argued that her appointment would have further blurred the line between politics and justice, raising concerns about the fairness of federal prosecutions. The court's decision sends a powerful message. Procedural shortcuts and the politicization of key justice roles will not be tolerated. Upholding the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary remains paramount, even in the face of intense political pressure. This case is far from an isolated incident. In recent years, similar attempts to place loyalists in top federal prosecutor positions have surfaced in several other states, sparking widespread debate about the future of the justice system and the importance of checks and balances. By blocking Habba's appointment, the court has set a significant precedent, reinforcing the necessity of independence and proper Senate confirmation in the justice system. This decision is likely to influence future appointments and legal battles across the country. Ultimately, it's a direct check on the administration's ongoing efforts to reshape the Department of Justice and centralize power. The ruling underscores the enduring strength of institutional safeguards designed to protect the rule of law. As the fallout continues, Trump's broader strategy to consolidate power within the federal government faces new and significant obstacles, highlighting the ongoing tension between political ambition and the foundational principles of American democracy. The Supreme Court tariff case and the Habba disqualification, though separate, both represent major judicial checks on Trump's efforts to expand executive power. These cases are not just legal battles, they are pivotal moments that test the boundaries of presidential authority and the resilience of American institutions. Each case, in its own way, challenges the notion of how much power a president can wield and how far the courts are willing to go to uphold the Constitution. A loss in the Supreme Court would force Trump to retreat on tariffs and limit his use of emergency powers for other policies. It would send a clear message that even the highest office in the land is subject to the rule of law, and that sweeping economic decisions cannot be made unilaterally. The outcome could also affect how future presidents approach trade, national security, and their relationship with Congress. The Habba ruling blocks his strategy to install loyalists in key legal positions, protecting the independence of the justice system. By preventing the appointment of close allies to influential roles, the courts are reinforcing the principle that justice must remain impartial and that no individual, no matter how powerful, should be above ethical standards or oversight. These cases go to the heart of American democracy. Can the president impose taxes without Congress? Can executive power override the checks and balances designed by the founders? The answers to these questions will determine not only the limits of this presidency, but also the future relationship between the branches of government. Can the justice system remain free from political influence? The integrity of the courts is on the line, as is the public's trust in fair and unbiased legal proceedings. These cases are about more than just one president. They are about the enduring values that define the nation. The answers will shape the presidency, the economy, and the rule of law for years to come. The ripple effects will be felt by future administrations, businesses, and ordinary Americans alike, influencing how power is exercised and checked at the highest levels. The court's decisions will echo far beyond this administration, setting precedents for future leaders. These rulings will become reference points in legal arguments and political debates for generations, shaping the contours of American governance. As the nation awaits the final rulings, the enduring strength of constitutional checks and balances is being put to the test. The eyes of the world are watching to see whether America's democratic foundations can withstand the pressures of partisanship and power. The outcome will help define the future of American democracy, reminding us all that the rule of law is both a shield and a guide for the nation's path forward.